Today we're going to get to see Tucson PD, who could easily have used deadly force here, but chose not to. MagTech is the only freedom seed I use on the range. I personally have over 100,000 rounds downrange of MagTech, and it's unbelievably reliable, very accurate, and a great value. Pick some up for your next range trip wherever you shop for range supplies. Hi everyone, welcome to today's badge cam lesson here at Active Self Protection. I am your host, John Correa.
And I'm your co-host, Mike Williver. Today's video comes to us from where I live, Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson PD has been called here to a man who has climbed up on his neighbor's roof after creating a domestic disturbance. So the neighbors have called, his family has called. Let's listen into what happens on the badge cam.
Hey, it's not gonna work, buddy!
I know, but just put the knife down.
No!
Put the knife down.
Tell me,
Put the knife down.
Hey, no, man.
Put the knife down.
Come down, Jimmy, come down. Whoa! Hey, Jimmy, come down. You put the gun over here, huh? Jimmy, his name's on. Hey! Hey, we're here. No! Don't do it, man. Hey,
Lead it to you 10-3. If somebody has a flex, bring it. He's on the rooftop. He's armed with one knife.
Hey, can you guys go that way, please? No, do that. Just don't shoot.
Get it. Keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. Don't do it. Get down.
Yeah, shoot me! Come on!
Get down. Get down.
Come on!
Don't throw that brick. Don't throw the brick.
Come down!
Get back.
Shoot me! Please come down, bro. Get out of here. No! That's my brother! Hey! Hey!
Don't get on that side of the house. I already asked for that. Just stay on that side of the house. Slow down. Just stay right there. Stay right there.
No!
Stay right there, buddy.
No!
Just stay right there. All I want to do is help you.
You!
All I want to do is help
Come
you.
here!
Get inside the house. Get inside the house. Just stay right there.
Calm down, bro! Calm down!
Just stay right there, bud. Nobody wants to hurt you.
Stop! Hey, calm down, please!
Hey. Lincoln too. I'm gonna need the flex on the east side of the residence. He's on a tree, trying to get down.
So, hey, how can we help you? Hey, if there's someone in the backyard, go inside the house and lock the door. I don't know if there's someone back there. Yeah, he's going down. Hey,
Kill me!
hey, drop the knife, buddy.
Drop me, Jaime! Please drop me! Thank you! They're
Lincoln
gonna
two,
cut
go
me
ahead
up
and
in
start
pieces,
the
huh?
stand
No,
in.
they're not!
No, we're not.
No, yeah, you, yeah!
No, we're not. Hey, you gotta stay back.
Hey, bring me a water! I'm putting right now!
Hey, do you want a water?
Hey, officers!
Hey, stop.
Calm down!
You want a water?
Jaime!
Yep. Jaime.
Yeah, you! Jason, bro, it's on
Hey,
there.
Kirasawa. Kirasawa.
Stand by. We're dealing with this guy.
Ah! No! No!
Hey, do you want some water?
Ah! Hey, stop!
Stay right there, buddy.
Ah!
Can I help you? Let me get you some water.
Hey, please, officers. Ah!
Just stay right. Hold on, buddy. We're trying to get you some help.
Hey, can I stop him? Hey, stop!
Lincoln to you. He's coming off the wall.
No!
Hey,
Go start meds and have him stand off.
hey, Jaime.
Don't do that, buddy.
Ah! Hey, stop! Please, Doc. Oh! Tase him, please, don't just shoot him! Let him shoot me, fool! No, dude, you got...
Jaime, we're not gonna hurt you. Jaime, we're not gonna hurt you.
Hey, why is it just 2 units? Because they're gonna turn the end!
Go that way, go that way.
Oh! I'm putting the fence right now.
Huh?
Why are you guys... Stop! Stop!
done.
Got it.
Turn on your gut now.
Turn on your gun.
Turn on your gut.
Turn around.
Get down, stay down. Get down. Get the knife out. Get your taser out. Get out.
Fight it with one. Stop! Let go. Stop it! Stop! Stop! Stop.
Thinking 2, 10, 4, 10, 18.
Stop! I had to come down, please. Hey! I got his wrist.
Thinking 2, 10, 4, 10, 18.
Okay. We need to get him cuffed and up.
What?
We need to get him cuffed. He's starting to lose consciousness. We need to get him up.
We need to cut him cuff.
Cuff first and then up. He's losing consciousness. Come on, get him up. See? Get him up. Okay.
Come on. Turn him over. He's losing consciousness. He's losing consciousness.
Okay. Okay.
Come on.
Let's get medics. Sit him up. Yeah, we need to get medics over here. Yeah, they're standing up. He's losing consciousness. Okay. We need meds. Yep. What's your name, buddy? He's passed out. He's out of it.
You all right, buddy?
All right.
Put him in. Get him up. Watch out.
Watch that arm.
There you are.
Stay with us, buddy.
Let's get that other arm to get in that recovery position.
Can you help him get him this way? Put his arm underneath him. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go. All right. Let's get him his butt. There you go. On me in. You guys can get him cuffed. Got the cuffs? Yeah, get him out. Hey, buddy. Okay? Can you go that way? Keep breathing.
Stop! Yeah!
Keep breathing normal, buddy.
You got another injury coming to clean you up?
Hey, how's your thumb?
You guys, you got something to clean me up?
Yeah, dude, come here. Did you get cut?
No, he bit me.
No! 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 Don't do it! Stop! Stop!
Somebody tell him that she's
Stop! 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 Don't do it! Stop! 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 No!
Alright, we do the legs next.
No! Don't do it! They're gonna...
I'm gonna have to sit up.
No! Okay. Slide.
Lift him up.
Go. Go. Go.
Both the PD and fire did everything they could to help this guy. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of days later, according to the news stories that I have linked in the description. As far as I can discern from the news story, the officer whose thumb was bitten was treated at the hospital, but thankfully will make a full recovery. You know, Mike, we've been getting more from Tucson, and your hometown boys get down.
Yeah, Pima County Sheriffs, Marana, Oro Valley, Sarita, Tucson PD, they're fantastic. They're really a great bunch of
I mean, occasionally you're gonna get some not so great ones, but that's just anywhere.
Yeah, they're batting like 900 though.
Yeah. You know, Mike, I really want to say, especially in the beginning of this one, that I really admire the officers here because they set a perimeter, they surrounded and controlled and contained, and then even when the guy throws the big brick off of the roof, they don't freak out, they don't shoot the guy. I think it shows a remarkable amount of restraint and really good tactics.
John, you're the first person I ever heard the phrase, I don't know if you came up with it or not, distance buys you time, time buys you options. That may be yours, I don't know, but it is entirely true. If there is a way, we've seen it time and again on these badge cams, if there is a way for you to have a little standoff distance, especially with someone like this, give them room to, you know, vent, do whatever they're going to do, throw a brick, but you're far enough away they can't possibly hit you, I think that's really optimal under the circumstances. These are tough, tough calls. We don't know what we're walking into. We don't know the state of this person. We don't know if he's on the influence of drugs or if he's got some sort of mental issue. So there's a lot to try to diagnose, and it's not easy. I've been there, and it's tough.
I really think here, again, the guy throws a brick at you, and you can make a case there. Oh, wait, you know, if he hits me with that brick, it's a deadly threat. But I love that the officers realize better than that, and they just back off. And okay, then the guy's gonna come down off the roof onto the fence here. Now, once he comes down off the fence, all right, now he's wandering the neighborhood and the threat level increases because his likelihood of getting a hold of somebody increases. Again, he's got a knife in his hand. He's high emotion. He is contaminated thinking. He's non-compliant. So we're gonna talk about that a good bit in a little bit, but obviously we need to get this guy into custody before he hurts himself, before he hurts someone else. And so waiting for the right opportunity. I also love here, Mike, they didn't use the taser too early because you pop the guy on the fence and you're very likely to hurt him very badly.
Yeah, we just saw, I can't remember where I saw it. I'll have to look it up, but there was someone recently who was immediately paralyzed because he was running from the cops, right? They had every right to tase the guy, but immediately paralyzed after being tased and fall to the ground. So if you really try to avoid, if someone's on an elevated platform like that, try to avoid the taser unless it's potentially a deadly force situation because you're almost certainly going to do some very grievous damage. And these cops don't want to hurt this guy. Obviously, they're doing everything they can and did everything they could to try to bring him into custody safely.
And I'll say that I think we see this all the time. It just doesn't make the national news, right? Like this badge cam doesn't make the national news because these cops did it really well. And so, yes, it gets released to the public because our suspect died. And yes, it makes the local news, but you're not gonna see this on the national news because the cops handled it really well. That's the vast majority of instances. And yes, we do see some occasional instances where they do a poor job. Not really. Usually in Tucson PD, they normally do pretty well. Here as well, another case, really good use and effective use of the taser. And we do give tasers a hard time on the channel because we joke that it's the Sex Panther of defensive tools and 60% of the time it works every time. But when it works, it is a game changer. It is a really good means that neuromuscular incapacitation, NMI, that we talk about. When you get that neuromuscular incapacitation, it locks him up. And now you can approach somebody who had a knife with a good deal of safety. So when it's in its use window, if you use it correctly, Mike, hey, it works.
Yeah, that's really the key, isn't it? It has to be in its use window. So if someone's wearing 8 layers, they're wearing a triple fat goose jacket with a sweater and a t-shirt and a button down underneath it, don't bother, taser's not gonna work. If someone's wearing very loose, baggy clothing, taser's not gonna work. I don't claim to be an expert. Everything I learned about the taser, I learned from people on departments I work with and from John and people in the ASP orbit, that I know enough to know that this was a textbook use case, right? They waited till he was down, they hit him with a taser, he goes down. The thing is, with a case like this, is you really have to strike a balance between okay, the taser's working, right? And I need to get in there and do something. And do I really want to move in right away because of what this guy's been sort of exhibiting, the symptoms he's been exhibiting? So it really is a thing you have to ask yourself in advance. So in this case, they moved in. Fortunately, the knife was visible. They were able to get it at least a little bit away from the guy. So kudos to them for using the taser to its appropriate purpose and kind of flawlessly.
Really flawlessly. And also, I want to commend the officer who was on camera here. Notice he's coming up to go get the knife, and again, a dangerous job. The guy's locked up right now on, riding the electric boogaloo. And so he goes up, notice incredible muzzle discipline, incredible trigger finger discipline, and that is commendable. And he gets in close, grabs the knife, and then he's gonna toss it. One tiny thing here. I kind of wish he had tossed it farther, but like you and I talked about on camera before we started recording, Mike, there's kind of a balance there between how far do I want to yeet it and how much control do I want to keep over it. I kind of wish maybe he had chosen a little more distance though.
Right, to your piece about trigger discipline, muzzle discipline, I love this so much, okay? Officers, deputies, if you're watching this officer, I've never met him, I don't know him. He lives in the same town with me, but I never met him before. This guy has practiced muzzle control. He has practiced his trigger discipline. He couldn't get this wrong if he tried. If he went up there and someone said, okay, leave your finger on the trigger while you do this, he literally couldn't do it. His brain wouldn't let him because he has practiced the skill so many times over and over and over. It's like practicing your draw. It's like practicing actual shooting and handcuffing and everything else. It takes a lot of reps and it takes continued discipline and vigilance to make sure you're doing the right thing. But can't say enough about his trigger and muzzle discipline. As far as the knife, yeah, as we said before we hit the record button, it's a tough call. You want to get it far enough away from the suspect that he can't access it, right, in the short term, but not so far that you can't find it later, and some kid picks it up. Obviously, that's going to be a problem. What I will note here is there may have been, I'm not criticizing, there may have been a little bit of the mindset of, well, he's on the ground, the taser's working, he's pretty much in custody. And pretty much in custody can get you in trouble if you're not careful. All the way in custody is handcuffed, secured, and searched. That's in custody. Nobody's in custody until those things have been accomplished, but that may have crept in a little bit here, so I get why he didn't yeet it too far. I think he tried to strike a balance and did the best he could under the circumstances.
I also want us to remember the fact the taser is very effective right up until the Pikachu juice evaporates, right? So on these police model tasers, they usually go about 10 seconds on the initial pulse, and then they're gonna hit him again, but notice as soon as it stops, he starts pulling at the barbs. Well, that's going to change what it's doing here. So, okay, I've got the knife kind of away from the guy. You can see it on the ground there. And now, yeah, we gotta get this guy into custody, but we didn't throw the knife far enough away, so therefore it's kind of back in play a little bit. Thankfully, he rolls away from it. And now I gotta get this dude in custody again, so I think good job going hands-on. I also want to say here, when they move in, you got to avoid the most dangerous parts of this guy, and that is his mouth. He can do great damage with his mouth, and he puts the officer's thumb gets in his mouth here. And this is objectively a deadly threat to this officer, because if he doesn't do something about this immediately, that guy is going to bite his thumb off, mangle his thumb in his mouth, and that is going to be a permanent life-altering injury for this officer. Probably won't kill him, but again, the definition of a deadly threat includes a threat of great bodily injury, which includes the idea of permanent disfigurement or loss of use. And so if he just shot this guy in the face because he's biting his thumb right here, we've seen it before on the channel, it would have been justified. But I think there are other options too, and what incredible restraint taking that risk for himself.
100%. Oh man, I promised John I wouldn't say 100% so many times. I sound like Bert Kreischer. Okay, absolutely, John. I'll tell you what. I got something for this. I'll say that. When I was in the field, I had it drilled into my head. The average adult human has a bite force of 120, I think, to 160 psi, pounds per square inch. Think about chewing through a steak. Think about chewing through. Grab a chicken bone. You can break right through it with your teeth, with your mouth as an adult. So what can be done here? We don't want to shoot this guy. Obviously, they've been trying really hard to get him in custody with as little injury as possible. So I would say this: if you have a collapsible steel baton, cover your ears if you're squeamish, that can go in his mouth between his front teeth and pry his mouth open. Now, you're almost certainly going to break some teeth. You're going to injure him in that way. but it beats the heck out of having to shoot him to get it to him quit biting you. Now, I'll say this. That isn't always possible. In this position, he could have his baton positioned in such a way that he can't get to it or whatever. He used the restraint here is insane. I want to go back for just a second and talk about that repeated taser. That repeated taser thing looks ugly to the average person. They're like, well, why do they keep hitting him with a taser? They're trying to get him to stop. Because the taser is a less lethal tool, attempting to get him into custody without having to kill him or seriously injure him. But the taser use was flawless. And as far as the hand here thing, this is hard for me to watch, John.
It really is hard to watch. And of course, you know, this guy ends up dying of this, and he is completely non-compos mentis. And I'm going to say something here, and it's a controversial statement, okay? Because we use a phrase like excited delirium, and I know that's been highly controversial, and some states have banned the use of the phrase. I think that's a mistake, because excited delirium is not a diagnosis. It's not a medical term. It's not designed to be a medical term. It's akin to using the word AIDS. Now, AIDS is not a medical term. It's an acquired immune deficiency. It's a syndrome, an observation, a phenomenological language. Same thing here with excited delirium. I have a high emotion, contaminated thinking, non-compliant person that I can't get to in any way. They are high emotion. They are completely out of their mind. They're not in their right mind, so I can't affect their behavior. And so we use that phrase as phenomenological language. And that's exactly what this is here. As a cop, I don't know, is this mental health? Is this a physical issue like he has a diabetic shock? Is he having a psychotic break? I don't have any knowledge of any of that stuff, and I'm not a diagnostician and I'm not a clinician, but what I do know is this guy is not somebody I can reason with, and he's high emotion, so therefore that's going to determine what ends up happening on my end because of his behavior. So don't look at this like, oh, we're trying to diagnose in the field. And if your state doesn't allow the use of that terminology, you're just gonna have to find new terminology to say the same thing, right? We have a contaminated thinking, high emotion, non-compliant person. So that's like a really long-winded version of saying we have a guy experiencing excited delirium here that we need to get into custody. And I think these cops did everything they could, Mike. I think they rendered him first aid. They stopped beating on him when he stopped resisting. They got him in cuffs, got him in a recovery position, got fire there. Fire did everything they could. His body was just shutting down. And that's what we see happen in so many of these instances. I do think though, these cops did a really good job kind of soup to nuts here, Mike.
Yeah, about this excited delirium piece. Listen, you know, as an officer, you know when you show up somewhere and someone is for lack of a better term, they're freaking out. We don't always need to know why they're exhibiting the behaviors they're exhibiting. It's important to try to go, okay, he looks like this might be wrong with him, might be PCP, could be an overdose of some sort of kind, I don't know. But the bottom line is, when it's time to get someone in custody, get them in custody as safely as you possibly can. These officers did that. They tried their darndest to get this guy in custody in one piece, and they did. The fact that his body shut down later is really unfortunate and sad, and we feel for his family. We pray for all of them, that their hearts are healed. But at the end of the day, these officers came and dealt with a very difficult situation and covered their ass.